Skip, what do you think tomorrow night's game means to Tom Brady?
It means a whole lot. And forgive me, Mr. Sharpe, if I get too worked up about this. I may need a seatbelt over here because you and I used to go back and forth about this. 2015, back on that other network. You happened to be there. Wrong place, wrong time for you.
I remember watching.
Oh, it was something. But I believe Tom Brady will get re-worked up about the single worst thing that's ever happened to him in his life. I think you're going to see the re-emergence of Psycho Tom tomorrow night. You'll see him in that crazed state wanting ultimate payback from the organization, the Indianapolis Colts, who tried to blow the whistle on him just before halftime of that AFC Championship game in early 2015. And I said from the start that I believe the National Football League chose to railroad Tom Brady with a bunch of flimsy, inconclusive evidence. They tried to sacrifice the great Tom Brady legacy in order to punish the Patriots and Bill Belichick for his history of cheating. Not for what had happened in Deflategate as much as everything that had happened with Spygate and other accusations. They just said, okay, let's sacrifice Brady's career because at that point he had turned 38 years of age and it looked like, well, he's about at the end of the line. And I want to thank the NFL for reigniting that fuse in Tom Brady because he just coming off an MVP year last year at age 40.
Yes.
So it actually turned out to be a great thing for Tom Brady. But I told you, I talked to two people very close to Tom Brady back in 2015, and they said he is angry about this because all he ever asked his equipment people to do was to inflate the footballs to the lower end of regulation because he liked to have a little softer grip. Aaron Rodgers likes his at the upper end. He likes the firmer grip. So whatever, but he just not a cheater. I just don't believe Tom Brady's a cheater. The head coach, I'm not so sure about because he got busted for cheating. But in this case, if you want conclusive evidence, I say look at what happened that night. In the first half that night, it was cold and a little rainy in Foxborough. Tom Brady went 11 of 21 for 95 yards in the first half of that AFC Championship game against the Colts. In the second half, with legally inflated footballs, because they're allegedly got busted at halftime and they re-inflated, with legally inflated footballs, Brady went 12 of 14 in the second half for 131 yards and 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. And they won that game 45-7. And then with legally inflated footballs, Brady went on in the Super Bowl in the fourth quarter to complete 13 of 15 passes for 124 yards on the Legion of Boom. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Obviously, he got a break with the play call or whatever happened at the end of the game, but he did win the football game. Yeah. And I think that and that alone said, I didn't gain any advantage here. Right. And then obviously Tom Brady went to the first round in court, and he beat the NFL in a home game in New York City.
Right.
And then he went to the Court of Appeals because the NFL did, and he lost a 2-1 vote to those 3 judges and finally said, because it was late July, I will take one for the team. Again, his friends were telling me he wanted to take it to the Supreme Court, but he was becoming too big a distraction to his team, so he swallowed the 4-game suspension. And I believe slowly but surely he's fought back and won back much of his reputation since then.
Skip, I agree with you. I believe this means a lot to him, though he will never say that publicly. I believe it means a lot to the Colts, though they will never say it publicly. Because whether you think Tom Brady did this or you didn't, the mere fact that we're having this conversation, which Tom feels we should have never had, was because of what the Colts did. The Colts turned those balls in and said these balls are underinflated. The NFL said, yeah, they are underinflated, and they did all their CSI, whatever it is. And so Tom is looking at it like, hold on. I'm going to wait till I get to be 38 years of age. I've had this impeccable resume. I'm going to wait to get, after I've already won 3 Super Bowls and been the MVP and the MVP of this league, I'm going to wait till I get to be 38 and cheat? Really? So now we got to ask this question, and it's going to be, whether, like I said, Skip, whether you believe he did it or not, that's on his resume. People are going to like, but you know he cheated, even if he didn't cheat. The Colts are upset. And you know, Skip, you get told no, and Chris Ballard was right. You get told no all the time. There's a difference, and people call off weddings all the time. It's one thing calling off a wedding 6 months before you get married. It's another thing to leave someone at the altar. That's a whole.
Well, he accepted the job and then said thank you.
Skip, the wedding was supposed to go off on Saturday at 3 o'clock. At 3:15, the bride is standing in place with a damn, he done walked it down the aisle and everybody waiting.
That's true.
And the groom ain't show up. So we get to the realization that, you know what, ain't no wedding jumping off today. You know, Skip, we get to the 11th hour, I think the coach realized, hold on, we ain't got no call, he ain't answering his call, ain't no fax come in, ain't no email come in.
Nope.
They come to the realization that Josh McDaniels is not going to accept this job. He's going back. Now, Chris Ballard, where you lost me is talking about the rivalry is back on.
Yeah.
The hammer and the nail doesn't have a rivalry.
Yeah.
That's kind of one-sided. We got to know how this thing's
agree.
going to end.
Yep.
You know, maybe Pittsburgh and Baltimore is a rivalry. Auburn, Alabama is a rivalry. What you got going on now, maybe when they had Peyton, that was a rivalry. But Peyton is long gone from Indy. So this is not a rivalry.
Yep.
Frank Reich, you know, he's the offensive coordinator at Philly last year. They beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Skip, I think the thing for Coach Belichick, what really hurt and damaged Tom is that when Coach Belichick came out and said, hey, I don't know nothing about no footballs. He said, I don't throw the footballs, I don't catch the football, so I don't care nothing about the football. Ask Tom.
Yep.
Yeah.
But Coach Belichick had to distance himself. They had told Coach Belichick, if anything like this comes out, you're gone. A lot of the owners, Skip, felt that Commissioner Goodell let the Patriots off very easy because it was more damaging. It was more widespread than what was reported.
Yep.
And they knew it. And Commissioner Goodell's like, okay, you're right. I let him off. So I got to punish him this time. Even though the evidence wasn't as compelling as it needed to be.
Sure.
Yep.
But they put it in more probable than not for this very reason. Skip, more probable than not. There's a chance you did it.
The Wells report. Yep.
Yeah, come on, man.
Probable than not?
What kind of bullshit?
That's all you got?
Worst. Yeah.
Because here's the thing, Skip. We got to do it like this because if we do it conclusive or reasonable doubt, that's courtroom stuff. We can't have no courtroom. We're not a court of law.
No.
So we got to have it. So it's the NFL court of law, which is more probable than not. Come on, Skip. But so this game means something to Tom because you bums put this stain on my resume.
They blew this whistle. Yeah.
Chris Ballard says, hold on, Josh McDaniel, you know what? I gave you an opportunity when a lot of teams say you didn't deserve one, considering what happened in Denver. Because don't think that didn't get around, Skip. And then they saw how, you know what? They keep changing a lot of rules. You remember he was the offensive coordinator at the Rams. And when everybody got fired, the Patriots were in the Super Bowl, the playoffs. He went and started working with the Patriots. They changed that rule. You can't do that anymore. But anyway, so it means a lot to two different people. It means a lot to Tom Brady, and it means a lot to the Indianapolis Colts.
Yep.
Because Josh McDaniels did jilt them, and he did lead them at the altar, and they did put this stain on Tom Brady's resume. And Tom will never, ever forget this. And I can assure you, if he can hang 100 on him,
he would.
He's going to get 100 or as close to it as he possibly can.
And to your point, this was the beginning of the end of the trust and connection between Brady and Belichick because Belichick called his own news conference, his own media session on that Saturday between the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl, that middle Saturday. And remember, he even reached for, shockingly, the Mona Lisa veto example. Talking about Marissa Tomei's, she won the Academy Award.
And my cousin
Vinny. And he was trying to say, I don't know nearly as much about footballs as she did about cars.
Correct.
You had to reach all the way for that. And this is Bill Belichick, who knows everything about everything.
Right.
This is the guy who has them practice with completely soaked footballs so that they can be prepared to handle the football in a driving rainstorm, right?
Yep.
So I do believe he knows what the inflation point is.
Oh, Coach Belichick knows everything.
Yeah.
He knows what the legal limits of what the balls can be and what they can't be.
Yeah.
He knows that. He knows everything. He's a very situational guy. So it'd be hard-pressed for me to know, sit here and say, well, Coach Belichick didn't know the footballs are supposed to fall between
so he's
12 and a half,
media,
13 and a half.
Don't ask me, ask my quarterback. Under bus did he throw his quarterback, right?
Yep.
And then Robert Kraft, a couple months later, he says no mas and says, I give up, I accept the punishment. And then another month or so passes, and then he reversed field and said, I shouldn't have trusted the league. I did it for Tom's sake. And I think he thought they'd be a little more lenient, but then they just dropped the hammer with the 4 games and stuck by the 4 games, right?
Had they just taken $1 million, what's $1 million to a guy that's worth $1 billion? Billions.
They took a first-round pick.
And he says, okay, even if you take that, you're going to suspend my guy on top of it? So how much is enough?
Yep.
And
even the great Peter King, the best reporter I know on the National Football League, reversed field after he continued to report on this and said, you know what? The league should give back the draft pick because this evidence is too sketchy.
Man, you know the NFL ain't going to come on.
Nope.
Now, you know they're not. But here's the thing. I believe had Coach Belichick not had Spygate on his resume, he might have would have fallen on the sword for Tom Brady. Because we see this, Skip. Michael Cohen talk about, I'll take one for the team. But when they talk about putting that time on you.
No, it'd be time.
When they talk about Coach Belichick, now we told you, if something like this, you're gone. Ain't no ifs and a buts. Skip, I hit the man had the district. Come on, Skip. I mean, them people, hey, Skip, you know them people come, what I tell you. When them people come for you, Skip, and they come, you ask, hey, would you like to come in? You ask them for a drink. Would they like something? And you go ahead and cut you a deal. That's what you do, Skip. Now, I wouldn't do that to you. I was like, I ain't telling y'all nothing. 50 years, Mr. Sharpe. I know, okay, well, let me tell you what Skip said.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't do that.
You're not going to do that?
Skip, true story. Let me tell you what. My homeboy, you know, in Fed, they give you months. You know, so they don't give you years, they give you months.
Yeah.
My homeboy did something he had no business doing, and the judge gave him 220 months. He like, man, 220 months, that ain't nothing. Then he started adding it up. It's 12 months in a year. Fainted. The judge say, when he wake up, tell him he still got them 220 months.
Oh.
Yeah. So, Skip, that's a lot of time. I mean, Coach Belichick had to tell it. Would you have told it? If somebody come to you and say, Skip Bayless, you're never going to be able to spend another day on TV if you don't tell us what happened. What you going to do, Skip Bayless?
About you?
Yeah, exactly.
I'd just swallow it.
Skip, go ahead and tell Skip. Go ahead and tell Skip. Tell it, Skip.